I'm not going to end the meeting.
Okay.
So I'm leaving you because I'm leaving my machine running and now I'll be in the gym. So can I pay the munongo? You've got the end meeting button and it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we are going live on Facebook. We blaze it.
So, I wanted to take.
You know what? Check your phone. No, let's check a Facebook. Check a Facebook. Oh. I think so. Is it in? Are you playing that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Dreamblazers, the academy. You dream it, we blaze it. Right. Yeah, this one. Dreamblazers Academy. You dream it, we blaze it.
Hello, welcome everyone. It's a very good morning to you once again. Thank you so much for joining us. We are coming to you live this morning from our Dreamblazers station, Dreamblazers broadcast. Thank you so much. Welcome everyone. Morgan, welcome.
Welcome everyone. How are you this week? Hope you all doing well. Hope you all safe and sound. Welcome.
Yes, what we want to acknowledge this morning is the hardworking professionals who are sticking out there, still standing tall, protecting and delivering services in various capacities. Thank you so much for the hard work that you're putting in. And we acknowledge also our mentor behind the scenes, Mrs. Ndemina. Thank you so much for giving us the support. And also we want to extend our warm condolences to those who have lost their loved ones, and we encourage them to remain strong as we continue to surf in this windy waters of the season. It's still COVID-19 and we are still having the conversations. Today, as we indicated last week, we are continuing with the 12 disciples of success. Yes, the 12 disciples of success. Last week, we connected with you, and when we shared the story of one of the first disciples, his name is Andrew. Andrew means desire. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So the 12 disciples becomes the 12 disciplines, isn't it?
Yes.
To success. So yeah, picking on that, on the what we discussed last week. Now it's how do we connect from desire and to faith? Today we're going to talk about faith. So we're going to complete the 12 disciplines of success, or 12 disciples of success, and see how you employ them to yourself first. You employ them to yourself first. So we are saying, what's the order? What's the order of operation, right? So the order really is, there has to be a structure in every building or everything you build. There has to be a structure. So you find that desire is the ground. Desire becomes the ground on where we can now build all the other attributes. So last week we spoke about the ground. Today we're going to speak about now the foundation, which is faith. Faith is the foundation of all other disciplines. But what begins this is you have to have a ground to build your disciples or to build your disciplines. So the ground is desire. So we have a ground, which is desire. On that ground, we build up now the 12. But you see, when you're building a house, there has to be levels. So you do with the foundation. After the foundation, you go to another level, maybe window level. After window level, we go now to the maybe the roofing level. So it's like that with how you employ disciplines. You don't just employ them anyhow, but they come in order. So this we are extracting it from how Jesus employed his own 12 disciples. So which are his disciplines? How did he become disciplined? How did he employ these disciplines? Is through an order of operation. So desire being the first discipline you need to employ before you start employing another discipline. So last week we saw that with desire, what desire does, it starts attracting all other attributes. Once you have a desire in something, once you've put your focus on something, that's desire. When you keep thinking of something, you keep thinking of something. Maybe it's help. You want to help, abused children, or you keep thinking about, you want help about a certain project. That way, it starts attracting in other disciplines, which is you become faithful. Faith, in its context, faith just means confidence. How do you become confident in doing something? So faith is the confidence of something, or the confidence in someone. How do you become Joe? How do you become confident? How do you become faithful? Let's put it that way. The Bible says Joseph, when he found Mary pregnant, from the Holy Ghost, or he was faithful to the law. What does that mean? How do you become faithful? How do you become confident in something?
Morgan, to become confident in something, we are taking this context of the conversation today from the scriptures. And today we are focusing on Simon Peter. Simon was given a second name, Peter. Mm-hmm. Simon, it means hearing, right? And Peter means the rock. So faith comes by hearing. Mm-hmm. Faith comes by hearing. What are you hearing today? In this time, what are you hearing? Tell us what you are hearing and what makes your faith, right? So today we're going to talk about the idea behind hearing. So the idea is, what makes you consistent in something? Because if you don't have faith, or if you don't have desire, that means you are aimless. Morgan, you said faith is a substance of the things hoped for, evidence of the things not seen. How do you create substance? What is substance? Substance is something that can be tangible, that is feasible, that can be seen. So when we apply in our circumstances at the moment, faith defines who you are. Your substance is the aim, your aims and objectives. You are giving substance
to your aims.
To your aims.
Your
In other words,
intention.
you give evidence by writing them down.
It's your intention. What
intention.
are your intentions?
Yes.
So it has to be evidence to people so that we can see. But I think God knows your intentions, isn't it? He doesn't need to see it. But for people to see what your intentions are. Joe, let's break it. You've put in 2 verses already. So let's break number 1. You've put the verse where you said, faith comes by hearing. If you read the verse, there are 2 types of hearing. If you read the verse,
yes,
it's got 2 hearings. It's got a hearing, then comma. So let's break that one down, because one of the things I've noticed is we've over used these verses, and they don't mean anything to us now. So it says,
apply, yes.
If they're not applied, if they're not understood, the reason why we can't apply them is because we've not understood them. So it says faith comes by hearing, then comma, there's another hearing. Yes. I've always wondered myself, what's the other hearing for? So there are 2 types of hearing. Yeah, we should share this one, because it's not just hearing, yeah, but there are 2 types of hearing, right? Number 1 hearing is where you use your ears to hear. This is everyone else, you can do this. Yeah, so faith comes by you hearing. Now you are hearing. If you hear this repetitively, you end up, being faithful to whatever is being said. Or when you do affirmations, you become faithful to your affirmations. Right. So the second hearing is the internal hearing. That's the second hearing, is the internal one, where you don't need to hear a voice, an external voice, but there's an internal voice that you hear. Maybe some of you, that's what you call talking to yourself. Yeah. Then some of you, if you want that talking to be heard by others, to evidence it, they call it, I'm thinking, what is it? I'm thinking loudly, is it? So the faith, so the voices, they are true. So not the voices, but the hearing, there's 2 hearing. So hearing of the ear, and then there's hearing of the internal hearing, which is what I would call when God speaks to you, we can call it revelation. That's another hearing. So there are 2 types of hearing. So there's hearing of the ear, and then hearing of the inside you. You can hear, you'll be talking to yourself, or it's not you, but that's the other hearing. Then also, I want to share on that hearing that, Joe, everyone, I think most of the most prominent people we know, those, Mary, Joseph, Abraham, Moses, they all heard something. Yes. And what they heard, I don't think it's an external voice. They heard that second voice, the inner voice. That's what they heard.
And they built their confidence.
From there, that's when they started. I'm going to talk in the afternoon, I'm going to talk about Rebecca, who overheard Isaac, telling about a blessing he wanted to release to Esau. She overheard, she heard. Then that hearing put it into action. Right, so we'll talk about that. So there are 2 different types of hearing.
Right, so in that context, faith coming by hearing, when it comes to the circumstances, there's always a risk, Morgan. People like to always associate faith with being religious. Faith, it's beyond that. It's beyond religious circles, because if we look at some of the characters, for example, like Saul, before he was Paul, he was very faithful in what he was doing.
Exactly.
He was faithful, he was confident, you see. So there is a close link between self-confidence and faith. So if you have faith in something, you've got confidence in it. Morgan, you've got confidence to go and cook the meal.
Salsa.
What you know?
Because I think I'm confident now in cooking salsa.
How did you build that confidence?
I think it's through practice and practice. Yeah, you fail, you try again. You fail, you try again. So I think that's what built my faith.
Yes. So when we put this in context of how we can apply our faith on a day-to-day basis, what are you hearing? Hearing today is about the word COVID-19, right? So when you hear something, it's there to test your faith, to test your confidence. How do you do that? How do you evidence your faith? How do you become practical to providing solutions to COVID-19? You write them down. You aim to object. When you aim object, we've got evidence.
Yeah, I think that one now, you said, what are you hearing during this COVID-19?
Yes.
So if you keep hearing the negative about COVID-19, are we putting any solutions?
No, you become negative.
So what's happening now in some circles? We are busy talking about the negative. We've stopped talking about the positive of it. So no solutions. We don't find any solutions. So it's what are you hearing? Very important, Joe, was what you keep hearing. You become faithful to that. Yes. I think one of the things we should be very, very clear here about is that verse that says faith comes by hearing. So it's what you hear that defines you. So hearing now, what brought about you hearing someone? Okay, what brought you about hearing someone? We don't want to say names. What brought you is the desire. You had a desire in something. I always ask Joe, there's certain, what do you call that? The speakers we listen to. So I always say, what made him, want to listen to those speakers? What there was a desire behind that he wanted something, and to get that something, he has to keep listening to this guy or to this, mentor. So that's how faith comes. It's about hearing. So be careful about what you are hearing during this COVID-19. Guess what? What you are hearing, at some point, it's going to come the evidence. It's going to be evidenced.
Yes, it defines you. So the context of developing self-confidence, the magnitude of your faith is measured. It's not about the crowd. It's about what are they coming to you for? What is the size of your faith? It's not the size of your car. It's not the size of the house that you live in. It's the size of your faith. Big businesses, big enterprises, big organizations, they are built on faith. The people, first of all, before they come to us, before we knew about them, they first started to believe in themselves. What are you doing for people to believe in you, to believe in your solution, to be a participant rather than a bystander in providing solutions for the COVID-19? What are you aiming for? You see, so here in Dreamblazers, that's where we are coming to you to discuss these things. There is a close relationship. The Bible is not a distant affair. It's a well-connected day-to-day event, activity. If you build your faith on something, you have to write it down. When you write it down, read it every day, in the morning, in the evening. That's how you practice in bed. When you do that, what are you doing? You are building something. You are building a new blueprint into what is called your subconscious. Your subconscious activates your consciousness. You see, before you win any battle, you have to win in your mind first. Okay. So the first competitor is yourself.
So we said the subconscious activate the conscious. So your conscious first, it lets in.
Yes.
Then when it's in, it's your subconscious that puts you into the drive, into the action, right?
Yes.
So with that, Joe, you talked about another verse, which you said, faith is it substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen.
That's the biggest.
So faith is evidence. It's not something you just claim.
No, you have to evidence it. Wow. When we say evidence in faith, this is the most interesting part. I'll give you a scenario. When you go to the bank, you don't just say, can you give me if you want money? No, they want evidence of your idea, evidence of your faith. What do you have? Your aims and your objectives, which are contained in your business plan. So they buy your faith. The size of your faith is evidenced through your aims and objectives, which are contained in the business plan. Same as funders, the size of the problem that you want to solve gives the confidence to the funder. The funder becomes faithful to you,
to your idea.
To your idea.
Because you've evidenced.
You have evidence there.
Wow. You know, I was reading somewhere.
Morgan, we might have some
questions
here.
Probably.
Our live feed is not coming on Facebook, maybe because of the settings.
Is it? All right.
So I don't know if we can adjust later. Or...
Yeah, we can adjust it.
Okay. So
yeah.
Maybe you can minimize it.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
When we talk about subconscious, guys, these are very, very cozy, intimate, kind of individualistic principles. When we do something, we are building a cement or building a structure in our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, it is capable of underlining success or failure or of any organization or any institution, right? Because it's about what you believe in comes out to manifest in the outside. If you've got an idea, you put down, say, that's why the Bible always say in Habakkuk, it's saying that write your vision down, write the evidence down, so that those who read it will be able to. Write your faith down, so that those who read it can run with you. The funders, they want to understand your idea. They want to understand how are you providing the solutions? What are you ready to be a solution provider in the current state of affairs? So the conscience builds the blueprint of your conscious mind. What manifests outside is already been activated from the inside. You see, so what we see from outside, what you see, the size or the scale of the problem or the scale of your business, it's something that is coming from your subconscious in terms of to what extent you can exert influence on a group of people. Is it the size of your faith that ignites people to be with you? How much do you believe in yourself? So the idea of believing in yourself is training your mind. When it comes to training your mind, like today, we are being carried to deliver this understanding that the apostle, the disciple Peter, Simon Peter himself, he became the rock. He said, on you I shall build my church, right? He became the rock. What does the rock mean? That rock means faith. What does it take to tell us? Faith is evident, is the weaving, is the connecting factor in all activity that you do. When you build desire, we highlighted from our last episode, the first episode in this series, you build desire. The next stage is faith. But when we talk about faith, faith now is an interplay connector of all the activity that you, if you don't have faith in anything, you are defeated. If you sell yourself in a subconscious that I'm going to lose, you will lose. If you tell yourself that I'm going to be a solution provider in the COVID-19 season, you become a positive influence.
Definitely. So, like we are saying, faith is the foundation. It is the foundation of all other attributes, all other disciplines. They should come onto what you are faithful on. There's no need of putting other disciplines on what you don't have faith on. If you don't have faith on something, there's no need of wasting your time with persistence. Why would you want to persist on something you don't have faith on? Why would you want to keep desiring something you don't have faith on? Why would you want to keep loving something you haven't got faith on? So faith becomes the foundation, the rock. That's the rock. That's what the rock is. It's the foundation. That's where we build our house. We build all other disciplines on that faith we have. So be careful, I think, on what you have faith on. Like we said, how does this faith come into us? It comes by a hearing. You have to hear something. That's how faith comes, right? So faith comes by hearing. Why maybe hearing? Because in many cases, words, they do build images. In many cases, or in every case, because it is the word that creates everything. So the words you hear, they create what you become. So the word can become flesh if you consistently or you persistently or you desire the word, it becomes flesh. So the word becomes flesh. Joe, continue.
Yes. Words become flesh. The words become evident. We're going to pick another example. You know the story of David. David had evidence that he could actually be in the battlefield and win. The issue did not start with the battlefield. The issue started with self-confidence. How did he build his self-confidence? By hearing and training. So when you hear you train, how did David train? David trained by killing the bears that were after the flock that he was looking after. So he had built enough capacity to be able to stand in the battlefield and face Goliath. You see, so he had the evidence, he had the faith, which was built on the evidence. He had the evidence that he had attacked and killed the bears that wanted to attack his flock. Therefore, he was ready and fit. You see, so if I ask you today, we are facing the Goliath called COVID. What experience, what faith, what evidence have you got? Evidence your idea so that you'll be able to attract funding. What evidence have you got to be able to be a participant in the series that we are in? At the moment, we've had and we are witnessing a lot of death, a lot of challenges. But at the same time, we have to establish ourselves with the conviction that we are going to establish organizations that are solution driven to the current crisis. You see, so here our job as Dreamblazers is to facilitate ideas to attract funding. The funders right now, they were looking for responders to the crisis that we are facing. They're looking for responders in terms of what difference can you make in your communities? What are the challenges that you are facing right now? And how can you be valuable enough to be a solution provider to the current crisis? What position are you taking? What ideas have you got? What have you been hearing? Are you being negative or are you being positive? Now, this is time to measure the size of your faith by putting down your idea. We see how valuable that level of commitment or that level of aims and objectives to be a partaker in the resources that are being thrown about to various communities. So this system is actually waiting for a person like you and I who can evidence their faith by writing down a plan. You see, so this series is connecting with what we share with you every week, that when you have an idea, you write the idea down. When you have the idea down, you have evidence of your faith. Because what it is to have an idea, you are aiming to be, let's say, to aim to help support mental health, or to be able to come up with structures to support mental health or the risk of mental health at the present moment. So the size of that problem or the size of that solution will determine how much you're worth. You see, so what are we saying? Your faith determines your worth. Faith determines how much you are worth. Is your idea or are your aims and objectives, is your faith weighty enough, valuable enough for us to give you some amount over this season? How much is your faith? You see, so the idea of building organizations, it's about your ideas. It's not about the people. It's about your idea. What idea do you have? What difference do you want to make in your communities? How much are you prepared to demonstrate your faith? Morgan, talking about faith demonstration.
Yeah, it's about demonstration because it has to be evidence. I think, Joe, for the benefit of our viewers, please just bear with us. We just a slight problem. I think now we are on live on Facebook. We've been focusing on Zoom, and our Facebook wasn't streaming live. Okay, so for the benefit of those who have just joined us, please welcome. We will just quickly have to recap on what we've been talking about. I think we've lost about 30 minutes now. Right, so we started today. Please continue to share. See, we have people joining now. Sorry guys, sorry about that. It was showing on my, it says, just show myself. It wasn't, the what you call the settings, with the wrong settings. So please do share. We'll recap on what we were talking about this morning. And we are continuing on the 12 disciplines, or what you call the 12 disciples that Jesus employed first to himself. He was the 12th, then he employed externally. So this is the 12 attributes you should have. Number one, in there, then externally. So number one, last week we talked about the attribute of desire, that you should have desire. so that you attract, for some reasons, desire attracts other attributes. Once you have desire, desire starts attracting other attributes. So number one, if you have desire, if you constantly desire of something, the next thing that will happen to you is you begin to have, automatically you have faith in that something you have desire on. So last week, I think we said, be careful what you desire on. So if you constantly have desire on something, you will be faithful to it. So we say today, faith comes by hearing. And there is a comma there. It says comes by hearing, then another hearing the word of God. So it means there's two types of hearing when you want to have faith. So I said the first hearing is the external one, the one you use your ears. Then there's another hearing, the second hearing, which is very important, which is the internal hearing. This internal hearing is silent. You can't hear any voice, but there is something, there's voices inside you. So there's internal and external. So faith comes by these two hearings, what you continue hearing and what you hear internal, right? So we said, once you are faithful to something you're hearing, eventually, the Bible said the word becomes flesh. Those words you are listening to, they eventually become flesh. They will turn into evidence. They will be evidenced. So automatically, what it means is, maybe you might say you choose, what you want to be faithful to. But faith, from how the attributes come, it shows that sometimes it's not a choice. If you constantly listen to, let's say, some music, isn't it? Or some inspiration speakers, automatically that desire of you listening to them, it turns straight away into faith. Then that faith, one day it will be evidenced. How? We will see by your actions. We will see even by the way you start talking. We will see by the way you are actioning. So faith really is employed by desire automatically. That's why you find in the Bible, Andrew just automatically went and invited Peter. Then Peter, which we said is the rock. So we said in the morning, desire is your ground. Your desire becomes your ground, and faith is your foundation, where you build now all other attributes. Faith becomes the foundation where you build all other attributes. John.
Yes. Sorry for the technical delays, and we are connected. We are happy. We keep on improving. Thank you so much for your support and connecting with us. Here today, we going with the series, the 12 disciplines or the 12 disciples of success. And today we just moved on to our next delegate or our next discipline, who is Simon Peter. And we are saying that Simon, it means hearing, and Peter, it means the rock of faith, right? So the next discipline, or the important discipline to employ, is called Simon Peter, which means faith. Faith is the interlink of all the disciplines that comes after. Any discipline that you can think of is linked by faith. Before anyone else can believe in you, because what do we have? We have a situation where Morgan, life is one of the biggest employers. You see, it's one of the biggest employers, and it pays wages. So these wages are paid according to your faith. You see, so when we talk about faith in business, faith is a substance of the things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. How do we evidence things that we don't see? We evidence them to the funder by writing the aims and objectives. You see, aims and objectives. What are we aiming for? When we are writing funding bids, when we write funding bids, we say we aim to, and how this is how we are going to object, right? We will do this, we will do this, we'll do this. By doing so, we are building a relationship with the funder. The funder will have faith in us that will deliver the project, and therefore that's where money comes in.
Definitely. So faith has got to do with two things, yeah, hearing and then evidence. It has to be evidence. Without evidence, there's no faith. So show us evidence to show us your faith. So one of the easiest way to show us evidence of things you're hoping for is to write them down. Writing is another form of evidencing those things you are hoping for, because we can't see your hope. We can't see it. Just talking about it and, you know, saying I'm faithful, I have faith, I'm a person of faith, it doesn't really help. It has to be evidenced. So you have to evidence it. The easiest way, the fastest way to evidence your hope, the easiest way to evidence the substance of things not seen is to write them down, because we can't see them. So the only way we can see them, I think this is where the other verse now comes in to say, write down your vision.
Yes.
So that those who read that vision, yeah, once it's evidenced, now we can run with it. How do we run it? We read it. How do we read it? Because you've written it down. So write down your hope, what you are hoping for. Write down your faith, what you are faithful to. Write it down so that if we start reading it, we can start running with it. So faith, guys, it's about evidence and it's about hearing. So we said, be careful what you are hearing during this COVID-19. Otherwise, it will come to pass. Whatever you hear constantly, you will evidence
it. Defines you.
It will define you. Yeah.
You are evidence of your faith. Where you are today, right now, as we speak, you are evidence of your faith. So sometimes it's good to blame circumstances, but we don't see circumstances as opportunities. Because guess what happens, Morgan?
Mm-hmm.
People, they don't decide their future.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Mm-hmm.
People decide their habits, and the habits
decide their future. So that's why I was coming to say, some of this faith, it's not, it's. Do you know why we are saying this, Joe? I think because they come in a settled way. It's not something you kind of choose. I was saying sometimes you are thinking I'm in control, but you're not in control. Why? I'll talk about myself. Let me talk about myself. Nowadays, I'm becoming so faithful to Facebook. So I'm watching Facebook. And the evidence is coming now to, it's showing now. But what it is now, what it means is, I'm becoming faithful to Facebook. Inside me, I'm denying it. I'll be saying, no, I'm not faithful. I'm faithful to God. You see? So that's the danger with faith. We tend to want to choose what we assume is faith. Yet, if you look at the stages we spoke about from last week, that it begins with a desire. So desire means you're focusing on something, constantly watching something, constantly hearing something, because they say faith comes by hearing. So once, whatever you're hearing, that's your faith.
And just to add on that, you see, no matter how much you pray, you cry in tears, and you do everything, you go on how many lives you do prayer and sweating and all that. If we can't evidence that prayer, there's very little chance that you are making a difference. So the most important prayer is the prayer that you can evidence. The prayer that you can, how can you evidence things? Write them down, write your vision down, aims and objectives, demonstrate your prayer. When you do your aims and objectives, you are developing a plan, you see. So in other words, you are praying. We can evidence that prayer because there's evidence, because we're encouraged, write your vision down so that we can evidence it. So the difference comes, it's not about pulling the crowd. The crowd follows biggest faith. People, they believed in Facebook. We're live on Facebook, on YouTube right now, and so on, because they've got faith in those institutions. So what makes you people follow you? Don't cry about the crowd. What are they following? That's the key question that you need. Are you being a solution provider? In the week, I had a conversation with one of our connections who we've worked with, and she's doing an amazing job. And the influence of the activities, the difference that they're making, and started to build confidence, people coming, seeking for support from them, from their organization. It shows that they're making a difference. Now, they have made a difference to the point whereby it's nearly just over a year they've managed to register as a charity. You see, so that's how faith is evidenced with the work that they are doing,
Yes.
and with your plan,
Yes.
that you have in mind. So faith is not in a theory that we can just use or we try to implement without evidence. Faith is an evidence of the thing. The thing that we see outside is a manifestation of something that is already taking place in you. We mentioned earlier on when we give an example that to win or even to pass an exam, you have to pass it in your mind first. How come you want to be an employer, yet you want to be employed? You see. So the challenge is that they had to follow Jesus. Why? Because they had faith in him. And it was not a problem to say when he stand and give a sermon, 3,000 they turn up, the whole city they turn up. Why? Because they had faith in him. And he was saying that it is written. What is it that is yours that is written?
Okay, that was his evidence. So what he was teaching was written. Also, maybe it's important what we said they were following him because with him, he didn't start employing. The problem is starting to employ what you haven't employed yourself.
Yes. You start by yourself.
You start by employing yourself.
Start by employing yourself.
So how do you employ yourself? Employ the 12 disciplines
that we are going through, yes.
Right? I know it's a hard thing to do, yeah, but this is an encouragement, to someone who wants to change, yeah. It's not that we are saying we are perfect or we employ all 12. We are also in the journey of employing the 12 disciples within and also external. But what we are saying is just to encourage someone is that, try by employing these disciplines within. Remember, we said there are 2 hearings. So try employ these by yourself, then you can externalize whatever. We call it in our camp, we call it what do you call it when you replicate after your own kind? Cloning.
Cloning, yes.
Yeah, you clone what you are. You can't clone. So Jesus,
you give what you
have. So Jesus became 12 disciplines. Then those 12, he employed them externally. And if you look at it, each time Jesus would go aside with the 12, he would teach them.
Yes. So
it means he was teaching them the disciplines that were in him, that were him, right? So it's very important that we understand how we begin the journey of employing these attributes, which will help us to build onto, that what we desire, the success we are desiring.
Yes, and one of the things that evidence. One, we shy away as people from our failures. Yet failure is the biggest asset.
It's part of the evidence.
It's part of the evidence.
That one is evidence. Can you repeat again? That's very important. Because
we shy away
from
failure.
Okay.
The greatest inventors, time immemorial, how many times they have failed. Failure becomes an asset. If I ask you, what assets do we have? They start to show, oh, I've got this and that. No. I'm asking you, how many times have you failed?
Wow. I always say to people, just to encourage someone out there, let's talk about the bound.
Yes.
How many times did the guy fail?
Sure. Yes.
So he knew of how many times not to do it. Then the plane we are using every day now, how many times did these guys, there were many of them trying to fly this craft, and they were failing and failing and failing. I think the biggest challenge, Joe, I always say with another man of God out there that, in some ways, I think the successful people, they are selling too much success other than selling where they failed, which is what's important. Knowing where they failed is how we learn. Also, right, what I always share with people, this is very important. I always say to people, in Genesis 1, this is very important, there's evidence of failure. I know people don't want to hear this, but let me say it so that someone can learn. In Genesis 1 verse 2, there's evidence of a God or God. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, meaning the evidence, or meaning the results.
Yeah.
Now the earth, was formless, void, and darkness was all over. That's failure. So that was number one, failure. So God created failure, and he had three failures. When he finished, created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless, void, which is emptiness, and darkness was all over the surface of the deep. Can you see? So before light, what was created was formless, emptiness, and darkness. Now, in a positive way, that failure became the beginning of light. If there wasn't that failure, if those three things were not there, if formless and emptiness and darkness were not there, then there was no reason of God creating light. And there was no way, because emptiness, it means he created some empty, it was empty. So there was somewhere now to put, there was now need to fill in somewhere. There was now space created. Then also, formless means there was no need to form this thing. So the beginning of every product is failure.
There's a problem.
There's a problem. There's failure. This must be heard by people that in the beginning you fell 3 times. That was God. So you fell. Your failure, let me say it, maybe it will speak something to someone. Your failure now creates number 1, time. Number 2, space. Number 3, matter. That's what failure does. Without failure, these things, they will not come into existence. So for there to be light, there had to be darkness. For there to be your solution, there has to be darkness. Otherwise, you will remain unemployed if you keep fighting darkness. Create it, and then create formless, and then create emptiness, so that you have somewhere to fill in and you have something to form that employs you, that you become employable. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. At the moment, the void that you're talking about, the emptiness that you're talking about, the darkness that you're talking about, it's already there because of COVID.
We don't need to create it.
We don't need to create
it's already been created.
It's already been created.
So all we need to do is to fill in
with activities.
Form. Let's reform. Is it? Let's form what's been formless now. So that's why I think we've gone into this formless. Everything is, formless now.
Yes, to reshape and resize. So it's about you now. How are you feeling this space? How are you forming things? We are saying new ways of working, new ways of doing things.
Yes.
After every major crisis, there's always something new coming up. I will remind people that even the NHS is dependent on everybody today.
Where did it come from?
It came just after the World War in 1948. So it was, but someone was asking, where was it then during the war? It was just after the war, and it came into exit. There was no NHS.
You're waiting for it. Where was Facebook?
That's what we're talking about. We're just saying that.
Where was Facebook before we are using Facebook? Now, where was
the crisis?
Where was Zoom?
It's an opportunity.
Where was Zoom?
It was there. Now, what you need to understand is, if someone was writing it down,
and they were aiming.
And
they evidenced it.
And they evidenced it.
Now the word has become
flesh. That's what it means.
So, guys, what we are saying is, it all begins with desire. Why? Because you have to focus on something. You have to desire something and focus on it. The more you focus on something, the more it becomes faithful to you. That's how faith is created. Now, we say it in the scriptures. This has to come through hearing. It has to come through hearing, because you say faith comes by hearing, hearing, 2 hearings. And we talked about these 2 hearings. So you have to be hearing. I think this is very important. I was going to say, we're going to share in the afternoon how people like Rebecca, she overheard a blessing which was about to be given to another son. Mary, she overheard God talking about her having a baby. What's the name? Abraham. They all heard. Moses. They all heard. They to hear. Then that hearing was what put them into action.
And Jesus always used this phrase. I remember when he was talking to another woman.
Yes.
Your faith
has healed you.
Has healed you.
That's it. That's another level now. Your faith. Not my prayer. Yeah. That was Jesus. Jesus always gave back to the person. Because it's about the person praying and you. So if I'm praying and you are denying, you're in denial, you're not believing. So how does it manifest? So Jesus always returned the prayer or the activity to the one being prayed for. He would say, after they've been healed, I suppose some of them who were not healed, he would tell them, your faith has not healed you.
So there are others who are waiting for Jesus' action, yet he is waiting for their
reaction.
Okay.
So they're waiting for their reaction. Okay, they're waiting for Jesus' reaction, yet Jesus is waiting for their action.
For their action?
Yeah.
What is your action today? This is time of COVID.
There's no second coming without you actioning.
You see. So what is important here is demonstrating. You see, we can come to a point to understand faith, evidence, but it needs preparation. Are you ready for your time of healing, for example, right?
Yes.
Time of deliverance. But deliverance does not come before preparation. Evidence it so that we can see it. If we are not going to evidence, or if you are not preparing for it.
Okay. So Joe, we want you to evidence your faith this afternoon. So we're going to be having some evidence here. We're having evidence of things not seen. We want to see, we want to evidence this thing, this faith. So this afternoon, we're going to be like all the time, we're going to demonstration, we're going to evidence these things we are talking about. We have this conversation in depth and with demonstration. Just because of our time, guys, we just, if there's any questions, please can we have questions quickly. Also, we back at 2. Sorry for today, this morning. We're going to improve this afternoon. I think we'll be ready this afternoon. It's just we are busy with the studio, so yeah. Please bear with us. Right. So this afternoon at 2 o'clock, we are continuing with faith, and we are putting faith into evidence. We're going to evidence it. So please join us at 2. Please, any questions before we go?
We're expecting questions. We just give them a few questions. If you might have questions immediately,
yes.
But when we go live at 2 o'clock, please bring your questions, and we'll be ready to answer them. It has been a pleasure having with you. Apologies for the technical delays. Thank you so much for supporting us, and stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leave meeting.